Hey, mamas. All right, we're going live. I just want to make sure we're actually getting there. Give me a sec. I'm waiting for Facebook to pop up and actually tell me we're live. Okay, so it's funny because sometimes when I do this, it doesn't actually pop me to the page. So let me go to the page and make sure that we are actually live. We are, yay. All right. All right, let me make sure that this is good. Get in here, make sure I can see all your comments as I come up. Okay, cool, awesome. All right, good morning. Oh, it is a new month. It is April. How did that happen? Um, so yeah, so this month, we have a new theme. You guys really liked having a theme last month. The spring cleaning theme, you guys really liked that. And so we're not gonna have a theme every single month, but I figured this month, the theme is gonna be back to basics. Okay. And so we're really gonna kind of go in, make sure that you've got a solid foundation for everything that you're doing. And so today, we are launching a podcast episode that's called Pick a Thing and Do It. Now I know lots and lots of you, and hey, I am just as guilty of this. Remember, when I do these episodes, the reason I do them is because I'm cleaning up my own crap, right? And I'm like, you know what? This could probably be helpful for all the people too. Okay. So I want you guys to realize that when I am like coming up with these topics and I'm doing the research, this is just as therapeutic for me as it is for you guys. So it's a little bit selfish, but it is, this is super helpful for me. So, what I find from a lot of people who buy bookkeeper training school, or approach me about bookkeeper training school, or even just like moms in general, I don't know, it's a thing. We are all doing like 9,000 things, right? And I understand, that there, all the gurus out there say you need to have multiple streams of income, you need to be doing multiple things, you need to be out there in 18 different ways. Okay. And I think that sometimes this has been kind of twisted by people, in in the work at home space. Okay, that you have to be a VA and be a bookkeeper and have a blog and and be part of a network marketing company and do this and be an Uber driver and it like and all the things, right? And what typically when we say like you should try to have multiple streams of income, what it means, like, okay, so you want to have, like, let's take bookkeeping for example. Okay, so as a bookkeeper you can do monthly bookkeeping for people. Okay, and you're going to have multiple clients. One of the nice things about bookkeeping, versus like some of the other ways that you can make money from home, as a bookkeeper you're going to have multiple clients and you're going to have ongoing clients. Okay, so like in some fields you do project based stuff for clients, which sometimes we do that as well, but it's not a lot of reoccurring work, right? In some fields you might have one or two really big clients that are the majority of your income. The problem with that is if you lose one of those, then half your income is gone or all of your income is gone if you only have one client. So it's one of the things that I like about bookkeeping is that you have the steady stream of income with your clients, and your clients are typically a little bit smaller, right? So yes, you're going to have more clients, but if you lose one, it doesn't kill your income for the month if you lose one. But one of the nice things with bookkeeping is because we are working with small business owners and we're helping them improve their processes, there are naturally multiple streams of income that can come with this. So for a lot of my clients are using something called Gusto for their payroll. And it's a service that they do all the things. but I get a little piece of their monthly fee every month. Okay. And so that's a stream of income for me. We also have, there are services that I refer my clients to that are going to help them run their businesses better, whether they're pieces of software, or other services that would be good for their businesses. And I get a little piece of that too. And so we also get, a little piece of what we're charging for, for the QuickBooks software, right? For the clients that buy it through me. And so there are all of these little streams of income, but all I'm doing is being a bookkeeper, right? And so I think what happens is a lot of us believe that we have to be doing, 12 different things. Hey, Grace, good morning. We have to be doing all these different things in order to diversify our income. And what that means when you do that, it's funny because we use the example, I used this in the podcast this week, and I used it in bookkeeper training school this week. But imagine somebody came up to you and was like, hi, I am a pediatrician plumber. You're like, what do you mean you're a pediatrician plumber? Like, I'm a pediatrician and I'm a plumber. And you're like, okay, those don't fit together, right? But that's what you guys are doing sometimes when you're coming out and you're like, so what do you do? And you're like, oh, I do this and I do that and I do this and I do that and I do this and I do that. Everybody goes, whoa, okay. And so what I want you to do is I just want you to focus a little bit. I have people who come into bookkeeper training school and they say, okay, well, in 5 years, I want to do 25 different things. I'm like, okay, let's form your business for what you're doing right now. Okay. And if you're doing 18 things, let's form your business for your primary thing. And maybe that's bookkeeping and maybe it's not. But let's focus on the one thing. There's a great book, and I'll put the link up afterwards. It's actually called The One Thing. And it's by Gary Keller, okay, from Keller Williams Realty. Phenomenal book. There's also a book that I love that's called Essentialism, by Greg McKeown. And that book, honestly, Essentialism, is on my annual read list. I actually reread that book every single year, and I'll put links in after I'm done. But I want you to focus in, because I think that part of the frustration with a lot of moms who are trying to work from home is that you're just kind of dipping in, right? And you're dipping into 18 different things, which means you never deep dive into anything. And so you dip a little bit into your marketing for all these different things. You dip in a little bit to your education for all these different things. And it's like, I just want you to dive. And I want you to give a realistic chance to whatever this thing is that you're doing. I just recorded next week's podcast episode. And, one of the things I was really thinking about, the difference between people who succeed and who don't succeed is that the people who succeed, when they fail, dust themselves off and try again. And I think what happens, with a lot of people is they go, well, this thing didn't work, so I'm going to pick a different thing. When maybe you haven't given the thing enough of a chance. And I know that some of you are getting frustrated because you're like, I'm trying to get clients, I'm reaching out, I'm doing the things. And if that is, if you're doing all the things, I want you to turn it up a notch. If you're contacting 10 people a week, I want you to contact 15 people a week. If you are, if you're contacting 5 people a week, I want you to contact 10 people a week. The thing is, getting the first client is the hardest one. And then once you get that first client, the second client is easier and the third client is easier. But getting the first client, you're trying to craft your message. You're trying to see what works and what doesn't work, right? Hey, Amber, good morning. Yeah, all my books are gone. I know I packed like all my books last night. So I have like a couple accounting books left and that's it. Everything else got packed. It is kind of weird though, huh? That like the whole bookcase is like empty. But going through and saying, okay, I've tried this. This isn't working. Let me try something else. Like I know like some of you are saying like, I'm struggling to find people on LinkedIn. Okay, so this is what I want you to do if you're struggling to find people on LinkedIn. I want you to go into one of the business groups that you're in on Facebook. And I want you to like post, like, I'm really struggling to find people to connect with on LinkedIn. Are you guys using LinkedIn? Is LinkedIn like working for you? How are you using? Like, ask. Because what's going to happen is the people who are using LinkedIn are going, oh yeah, I love LinkedIn. We should connect. And then you're opening up a whole nother branch, right? You're looking for those people to go, oh yeah, I really like LinkedIn. LinkedIn is great. I have a lot of luck with LinkedIn. This is what I'm doing on LinkedIn that's working. Why don't we connect on LinkedIn? Okay. These are also the people that you can reach out to on, through DMs. And if they don't volunteer to link up with you, then DM them and say, hey, thanks so much for responding. Can we connect on LinkedIn? I just want to see what you're doing. Right. So, I think sometimes we kind of sit there and we're like, okay, I'm banging my head against the wall. This thing isn't working. It's driving me crazy. What do I do? And a lot of times the answer is you stop. What I would do is I would go out and say, okay, let me go to Facebook in one of the business groups I'm in and let me ask my question. Right? Because nothing else, it might get me to connect with some new people. It might get me the answer I'm looking for. It'll give me a different perspective. Like, I crowdsource everything. Okay. Like, if you look at my, like, I'm like, okay, I am looking for, like, what brand of, like, face cream are you using? I got 200 comments on what brand of face cream are you using? I'm like, okay, we need a new mattress. What do you like? And I got 150 comments on mattresses. I've gone out and said like, okay, so what's working for you with this? Right. And I think sometimes like we don't want to feel like we don't know the answer. But you know what? Nobody has all the answers. I don't have all the answers. That's why I go out and I crowdsource stuff. And so here's what I want you to do this week. I know, sorry, I kind of went a little bit off topic. Sometimes I do that when I do these. I want you this week to write down, grab a little notebook. Okay, I love my little notebooks. Grab a little notebook or a little piece of paper, and I want you to write down what are all the things that you are trying to do right now. And I want you to pick a thing, especially those of you that have multiple businesses. Okay, so do the work that you've got to do. But then I want you to sit down and say, okay, I'm going to pick one thing that I'm going to try to grow this week. I'm not going to try to grow all the businesses I have. I'm going to maintain all the businesses I have that are making money. And then I'm going to focus on growing one of them. And I'm going to do this for the next 30 days and see what happens. Okay. And if you are focused on one thing, right, one business, but you're shooting your marketing off in 17 different directions, what I want you to do this week is I want you to say, okay, I'm going to maintain, right? So if you're posting on Facebook, on your page every day, okay, let's maintain that. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do research on how to get better at one of them, whether that's Facebook marketing for your business, whether that's LinkedIn marketing for your business, whatever that one thing is. I'm saying I'm going to focus on learning how to do this better. I'm going to seek out, I'm going to ask questions in groups. Okay. Hey, those of you that are having success on LinkedIn, what's working for you? Okay. Or, are you having success on LinkedIn? What do you do and what's working for you? Right. And post on, because if nothing else, it's going to help you connect with other business people. It's a really interesting topic for people to talk about in a group. Right. So it's going to get you kind of noticed and seen. But it's a good conversation to have. And I do that all the time. So you guys know, I'm a member of a group that is all about marketing, right? I pay for that every single month. I pay to be in a mastermind with one of, I think the top marketers in the world. I mean, she's just amazing. I pay to be in groups that educate me from different perspectives, because I don't think any one person has the answer. Right. And I don't know everything, but I know I can find an answer when I need it. And that's one of the great things about, I think, Bookkeeper Training School, is that it comes with a community. And so when you're having issues, I love, like Amber said, I started using post scheduling for the week so I don't have to spend every day on Facebook. Isn't that awesome? I love post scheduling. And nobody knows it's a scheduled post except for you. It's the greatest thing ever. And then you don't have to spend all your time. You can free up your time to do other stuff. It's awesome. It is awesome. And so this week, I want you to pick a focus. Okay? Pick a focus and run with it and see how it helps you. Okay. And for the love of God, you don't need to have all the answers, but you have to ask questions. That's where the best knowledge happens. And so find your place. Maybe it's a Facebook group, maybe it's like a chamber of commerce or a business networking group. Things are starting to open up. And for those places where things aren't opening up, people are doing a lot of stuff online. So, go into your local Facebook group and say, hey, are there any networking groups? Are there any business groups for women? It's funny because somebody just asked that question where we're moving. And people came up, there's 8 or 10 networking groups just for women to help them learn to do business better. That's awesome. Right. But it's funny because I never would have known that unless somebody asked the question. Right. And so be that person that asks the questions. All right. So I hope that this was helpful for you. If you want more information about this, go check out this week's podcast episode at smallbizmama.com. And you're going to see the background changing as we're packing things up and getting ready for our move. So excited. It's going to be awesome. And don't worry, I will keep you guys posted on the journey as we're doing this. All right, mamas, take care. I will talk to you soon.